It's essential to know how to inspect concrete, especially when there's a structural element made out of concrete in the home that you're inspecting or building that you're inspecting, and it has a crack. Oh, that's like the toughest thing. What do you say about a crack? How do you identify the difference between, how do you describe the difference between a good crack and a bad crack? Concrete cracks. Cracks all the time, cracks all over the place. But how do you know what a defect is and what is not? And what terminology should you be using in order to communicate your observations related specifically to concrete? We have that resource. This is a great article. It's going to take you a couple hours to go through the whole article. Let me go through some of the highlights with you and start you off in the right direction. So let's learn how to visually inspect concrete by visiting this article. And starting off, this is like one of the most important things. These calculations right here. We've got cement plus water equals cement paste. Cement and water equals cement paste. Now you take that cement paste and you add sand to it, that's mortar. Now mortar, we all know what mortar is. It's the stuff in between bricks and CMUs, concrete masonry units. I used to be a home builder, and we would pour the foundation, the footing, and then we didn't pour foundations, we laid block. 8-inch block, 10-inch block, 12-inch block, 12-inch blocks, two 12-inch blocks, holding them up. It was crazy. Our arms were like killers. And when you lay a block, you use mortar. So what is it? What is mortar? Here it is. Cement plus water equals the paste. You get that paste, you add sand, that's mortar. And then you take the mortar and add aggregate, stone, it's concrete. You mix it all up, and that's what concrete is. So you got to get that right. Maybe that was simple for you, but this is kind of neat. When you talk to your homeowners or home buyers, or you're doing a home maintenance inspection, you see the sidewalk wasn't cracked last year and now it's cracked this year, you can start to talk to them about cracks. And there's a couple other things in this article, like this defect. So if you have a poured concrete foundation and you see aggregate, right, in the concrete, and there's like a void, what is that called? What is that? And or is it a problem, right? And cold joints has nothing to do really temperature too much. It's a joint, right? What is that condition? And is it a weak kind of thing? Is it a defect? Can it be finished off? How about cracks? So this article goes over the basics of cracking, and there's different kinds of cracks, different classifications. There's plastic cracks and shrinkage cracks. We get a lot of that in poured concrete foundations. No big deal. And how do you fix them? There's thermal expansions. There's corrosion of the reinforcement. There's a drying shrinkage. There's sulfates that attack the concrete. There's cracks that develop before hardening, and there's types of cracks that develop after hardening, and what are structural and what are like from movement. So we have a lot of information about cracking. This one is a popular one. It's got the downspout there, it's on the corner, it's got the brick above it, and it's cracked on the corner. What do you say about a crack like that? Are you freaking out? Is it major? How about cracks like that? The small patches of flaking, and then there's damage to the surface, and efflorescence, and pattern cracking. What causes those pattern crackings? And there's a basement floor crack right there. What happens when concrete is just left on a very large plane all by itself while it's curing? Shouldn't you control the cracking that's going to happen? And those are control joints. And that's a shrinkage joint. So the uncomfortableness that you may feel, especially when you're new, is because your lack of knowledge, your ignorance, and there's a gap between where you need to be and where you are now. You need to fill that gap with knowledge. The good thing is InterNACHI has it for you to be a master inspector, to fill that gap. And it's all free and online to InterNACHI members. And this is one of the most important articles, how to visually inspect concrete in any situation, especially the sections about concrete cracking. So please take the time right now. I can't read it to you. It's going to take a while. Maybe you want to print it out and make some notes. While you're doing that, think about how to, because you have your software, right, in your mobile device already, think about how you're going to grab some of that information and incorporate it into your report, in your narratives, in your observations. So if you are inspecting the foundation, right, and you come to the foundation, concrete is described, you want to describe the foundation type, poured concrete foundation, and you see a vertical crack, slightly open at the top, closed at the bottom, no signs of water penetration, no displacement, no separation. What do you say about it? What if you find a crack? It's kind of similar to that. It's vertical, it's open, and there's signs of efflorescence down the water marks and efflorescence, salt deposits left behind when water and concrete. We learned about that. What is your narrative on that? What type of concrete? What type of concrete crack is that? It's before or after? And how is it repaired? And you read this article, not because it's, a lot of interesting information. Ultimately, remember, you fill in that gap so you're not uncomfortable during an inspection. You go as far as you know, so you want to fill that gap in knowledge. But also, it doesn't mean anything if you can't write it out. I mean, part of what you do now is reporting and communicating your observations and your thoughts and your evaluations about a crack in the foundation. So use this opportunity to read, fill in the gap, and make your report writing better.